Well, thank you so much, Melanie, and we're excited to be on here today. Zach, he is one of our specialists and engineers here with DIVVY. And so on some of the technical questions or anything like that, I'm going to bring Zach in here as well. You can see him on our panel as well. And just really grateful. We've been able to work with disability. And we talked about today how we're going to help go over automating expense reporting inside QuickBooks and just kind of education of what new technology is available. I work with DIVVY, and so I'm really grateful that we get the opportunity to offer a free or no charge service to your organization that'll allow you to help manage your expenses, help automate the process of collecting receipts or budgeting, as well as just allowing you to focus more on your organization rather than having the organization run you. So really excited. We like to make this interactive. It's always fun that way. So if you turn on your video or if you unmute yourself, as you have questions, feel free to ask them. Today we're going to go over a little bit about how to segregate your spend for restricted/unrestricted revenue sources. The second will be real-time visibility into all spend and grant tracking. Third will be enabling everyone to spend with your control and authorization. And then we'll close out with how to close your books daily and reduce costs with free software platforms for your business. Perfect. So as we jump in here, everyone can see my screen. It says, "Hi, we're DIVVY." So the first piece that DIVVY helps solve here is expense report tracking. So this is a typical process that someone would go through. Talking with Melanie, I work with a lot of other nonprofit organizations, and everyone is passing around the card. They have a Ziploc baggie. They have manila folders where they're stuffing their receipts in. Everyone's having to ask permission to use the card. And so this can be tedious. This can also just cause people to not know where the budget's at or where things are at. So we went ahead and we wanted to eliminate this process here of having to either manually track this, type it in an Excel, or manually enter it into QuickBooks. So this first piece is, as much of you know, you're using a personal or corporate card, or swipe our card, we have our receipt, we collect it, we stuff it in our back pocket or into that Ziploc baggie, and then we're turning it in, and at month end, we are going ahead and reconciling for that. Not very fun, and it can be tedious. So with this, with the software, you're going to be able to swipe your card, see everything real time, as well as be able to track this digitally instead of having to do that manual process. Okay. Second here, this will be your dashboard. So this will be your dashboard. You'll have it online. You'll also have it on your phone, and you'll have your DIVVY Smart Card here. As we jump here into the actual demo environment, we're going to now illustrate and show how you're going to segregate your spend for restricted or unrestricted revenue sources. Zach, I want to bring you on and have you talk a little bit about that. And then as we go through the different budgets and things, we'll also open it up to questions for you. Go ahead, Zach.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. So restricted and unrestricted revenue sources become a pretty big headache because they have a lot of different rules based off of what the grant is. And there usually isn't everybody on the team that knows everything that needs to be in it and what can be approved by those restricted revenue sources. So what DIVVY has done is we've built out an area that we call our custom fields. So Josh can kind of go over this, and we can also show you on the specific transactional level how you can use those as well. But inside here, we have these fields where we can set up that can be specific to you and your company. And we can track things like grants. We can track what stage of the system it's in. And we can track whether or not it is a restricted revenue source or not. So Josh is pulling up on the mobile phone right here, this Marriott expense. So let's say you were going and you were traveling and you were going to be staying at this hotel, and this needed to be whether it was you staying there or something that you bought for somebody in your company. It could be a guest that's coming that could be part of one of these unrestricted revenue sources. On each of these transactions, we can have optional and required fields that would be filled out to track and make sure it goes to the right department or GL code. And we can also do it to track if it's going to a specific grant or not. So really similar to how people use like classes or locations, typically where you guys are using grants or departments or divisions, we can also put those in and have those available for you. And so then that way, before you code it to any of those restricted revenue sources, you can make sure it's going to meet all of the specifications for that grant before it hits that book and before that charge is done.
Perfect. Zach, thanks for sharing that. Jaime, Crystal, Isaac, Yenter, any questions here? I would like to understand maybe a little bit about what your organization is, and we're going to use some examples inside of here so that we can show you how it'll work specifically for you. Do either of you have your microphone on? Doesn't look like it. I think Crystal does, but she would have to unmute that. So we're going to pop back.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Crystal, nice to meet you. It's Josh.
Josh, thank you for doing this. I actually work for the UTSA Small Business Development Center, and I'm always looking for tools for my clients. So
yes, that is great. Well, real quick, we'll use your example here. But when you are working with clients or anything that way, are we spending on personal cards, corporate cards, or what's your expense process look like right now?
well, if they're my clients, they better not be using their personal cards for their business. Hopefully I have discussed with them how important it is to keep those accounts separate.
Okay, and that's so true. We see that so often where people reimburse and everything that way. So with this, you're going to be able to not only be able to use a corporate card, but like Zach showed, we're going to be able to track all this and push this into QuickBooks or any other accounting software. We're going to focus on QuickBooks today just because that's what majority use. Crystal, do you or your clients use QuickBooks, or what kind of accounting software do you use?
Nearly all of them use QuickBooks.
Okay, perfect. So you'll love this in the free software. It has a direct integration with QuickBooks Online. And we also have a export that can match up with anything. So QuickBooks Desktop or any of the enterprise levels as well. So we're going to take a scenario here now. In the nonprofit space, we're going to typically see individuals who have to travel. We're going to see individuals who have to spend for different areas. Crystal, maybe give us an example of one of your clients or even just personal experience of how people budget and how they're currently splitting that up on their cards.
Oh, I don't know that they are splitting up on the card. It's just when they're putting it into QuickBooks, they're entering hard entering.
Kind of the manual process where they have to log in and look at the receipt and the expense report or the statement.
Unless it's coming from their ATM card, you know, straight from their bank account.
Okay, so we're going to show you this automated process of how you won't have to do that anymore and you'll let the software do it for you. So what we'll see here is, well, you're going to see we have broken up into different budgets. Now we have some executive budgets. We also have some just basic budgets, so for department, and then project base. Inside of this, we can make a budget so it has an administrator or a budget owner. So Crystal, you're going to be my boss. We're going to pretend you're Eduardo in here, and then we'll have all of our team members here who go spend. So you're sending me out to go buy lunch for everyone. I come in here, and you say, Josh, I'll be Andrew right here. Here's $100. And this is like the classic envelope system where you can put $100 on my DIVVY card, and you don't have to worry about me overspending, spending the wrong way. You can have that pre-approved. And so this is instead of a reactive approach, it's a proactive approach. We're not waiting till the end of the month to reconcile or reach inside our big box of receipts. This is all going to take care of it for us right there and then. If we come to the reoccurring expenses, this helps us with the hierarchy within an organization. So Aaron may be a director or a team lead or something to that effect. They're going to be able to have a reoccurring or what we call a credit limit on their card that they're pre-approved for. This just allows them to spend up to $1,000, no more. And if they need more, they can request those funds, much like you'd use on Cash App or Venmo. I'm going to show you that in real time here. So coming back over here, the example we'll show is someone checking into the hotel. They swipe their card. In real time, this transaction shows up on your phone. This shows up also on your desktop in case you don't have a phone or anything that way. I click in, it knows who I am, it knows where I'm spending and how much I'm spending. And we're going to match this up with your QuickBooks, your general ledger. It's automatically going to pull all that info in for you on our integration. And so we're not really worried about, okay, are we going to get this right? We can actually make each budget have different sets or customize this here. So one person can only have 3 of these selection, or another person could have all of them, just depending on how they need it set up. I'm going to select travel, take a picture of my receipt, and we're done. No more expense reports. We have real-time reporting into budgets. And at an admin level, or if I'm an accountant, CFO, executive, I can see real-time where all my budgets are and where everyone's spending. So let this load here. Now, each of these transactions that'll show up here in a second, we can see who spent, their name, the merchant they spent at, the amount, the card, the budget, their receipt. This is kept for 7 years for auditing purposes. And with the click of a button, we can push this all into QuickBooks Online or into another accounting software. So being able to automate your expense reports on average in an organization allows them to save anywhere between 15 to 20 hours a month. If they're larger, you just know the exponential problem. Those hours go up and up and up and more. And so really allowing you to not focus on the expense process, but focus on your real job and what you want to do. This process takes all of 5-10 seconds, and our team will be able to help you customize and set up your budgets so that it matches up with how your organization is set up. You don't have to match up with how DIVVY's set up. DIVVY's be able to be customized to how each of your orgs are set up. Okay, so second place, the first piece was just that restricted and unrestricted revenue sources. What that shows is just we're able to categorize each of our transactions, expenses, and make sure that we are able to track them either for restricted or unrestricted. We have budgets that allow us to be able to see real time into who's spending, where they're spending, and how much they're spending. Now we're going to talk about how do you enable everyone to use a card and have that be a positive experience rather than having to be, oh, where are you spending, or why did you spend there, or we're over budget. So let's come back into here one of these budgets. Now, what we're seeing here is with each of these, everyone inside this budget, let's go to another budget that has that. Okay, so members, everyone inside this budget here can have a $0 budget. That's very common during COVID. It's called $0 budgeting. And what that allows you to do is with a traditional card, it's just gonna have a limit on it. And so you're worried about people overspending or spending outside what they need to. With inside the DIVVY platform, the free software, we can actually control each card and just put a $0 budget on there. And when they need to request funds or get funds, it's pre-authorized versus waiting until after the damage is done. So as we come back over here, we can actually send funds or request funds in the same fashion. All right, let's see. We have Jaime, Isaac, and Yenter. Any questions here at this point of how to automate your expenses or how to push this into QuickBooks? I don't think either of them have their microphones up and running. Okay, so now we're gonna run back over here. And what we'll see is commonly inside of an org, we're gonna have some payments that we make on either ACH or check. So you can actually schedule these out, load up your vendors, automate the invoice by uploading your invoice and being able to have the software do that for you. Meaning, I'll show you a live example here. We upload our invoice, the software reads the invoice for you and inputs the data over here for you. On this funded payment here, this is shot over to accounts payable. They can actually fund that, click pay, and we'll send out the check, pay for shipping, as well as we'll pay for everything to be sent out for you. This is just pulled from your regular bank account like a regular check or ACH. In today's world where people are starting to work more remote and everyone's all over, we no longer have to wait for the once a month where people sign checks. We can again automate this process of being able to pay our vendors. Last piece here for you, virtual cards. So this is your vendor management. Vendor management in today's world has become a little sticky. I used to work for a popcorn factory, and I had one of my cards for all of my different vendors. Well, every month I would see someone who would charge me a little bit more than they were supposed to. Or maybe a couple months in, I had some fraud on my card, so I had to do the classic call up the card, cancel it, hop on every website, type in the new number, wait for the card to be shipped to me, and it was just a headache. So with virtual cards, we can actually put an individual virtual card for every vendor. What that's going to allow us to do is we can put a budget for each of these. So if they try to charge you more than what's on there, say $1,000, it's going to decline it for you. Second, if you have fraud on your card, I'm not having to call up all of my vendors. I can actually just call up one, and then I'll be able to freeze this one card, issue a new card instantly, and we'll be up and going in a matter of seconds. So we're not waiting weeks or months or anything that way. Everything's done in real time. And then last, if we have any fraud, we can do disputes and everything just right here inside the platform. Come over here, manage a dispute, and we're good to go. Perfect. Zach, when we talk about closing the books daily or reducing cost of software, with some of your clients or others that you've worked with, maybe expand a little bit on how they've been able to better track their expenses and kind of the experience on the client end of what they've been seeing and helping reduce the cost to their overall company.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh. So in DIVVY, where Josh kind of went over how easy it was to categorize a transaction, the second that it happens, we're no longer having to wait till the end of the month to have everybody compile their expense reports and make sure they have the receipts. We can do it proactively. And so what that means is in real time, as you see these receipts come in, as you see the transactions come in, what we can do is we can push it straight from DIVVY into your QuickBooks account. So that's going to help you to really know your current balance sheet and make sure everything is accurate on a real-time level. And rather than just a month or so later, once you finally got all the receipts and you categorized all the transactions. So by being able to do it on a daily, weekly basis, depending on however you want to do it, is going to give you the best tools you can to really know the state of your business and the current spot that it's in. A couple things, other things that we've noticed that people really like with DIVVY is that this is one account. So you no longer have 5 different cards and 5 different people's names with 5 different banks that you're trying to reconcile all of that stuff together. In QuickBooks, DIVVY is going to have one liability account that all of these transactions are going to roll up to. You're only going to have to reconcile it to one bank account, and we're going to have one general ledger that all of these transactions are going to live in. But as we build out these other different things like your classes or locations or your other expense types, we'll also be able to push the information straight to there. You're not going to have to worry about setting up your bank feeds or making sure you have those right banking rules in. Everything's going to be pushed directly to that expense ledger, and you're going to know real time when you push it over whether or not you are in compliance or whether you're in your budget, and you won't have to worry about doing that double work of doing it once at one time and then again when it's in QuickBooks. So DIVVY will be able to take care of that part of it for you as well. Perfect.
Thank you so much, Zach. In closing here, we just want to talk about how to reduce costs with software and free platforms out there. The reason we were brought on is one, just to educate what are the next steps that organizations like yours are taking to help reduce costs, but also be able to get money back to their bottom line. So with DIVVY, on average, you'll receive back about 5 to 7% to your bottom line on an annualized basis. Where those numbers come from are from our clients sharing and how they're no longer having people do overspend or an accidental spend. They're not having fraud on their cards. They're not wasting time per employee or in the finance finance department, having to reconcile everything and go back through the whole month's receipts. It's automating and allowing you to really focus on what you want to accomplish. And so on an annualized basis, we're able to get that 5 to 7%. If it's a larger organization, we've seen it as high as 17%. Just with more people involved in the process, there's more room for human error. Last here, you're able to get rewards on top of this. So on top of your 5 to 7% back to your bottom line, they're also going to be able to offer you rewards. So anywhere between 0.5% to 1% cash back there as well. And that's seen as gravy, being able to help just any promotions or things that are going on with your organization. Being able to sign up for your free platform is really simple. You fill out an online application. We've included a link here in the HUVA description where you can sign up through the Disability SA link. That actually gets you the ability to get your account for free, as well as to have a one-on-one consultation by myself or one of our specialists to help build out your account for you, as well as we'll go over how this will work specifically for you. This is more high-level overview, but we can go in depth one-on-one and be able to help you do that. So we'll include that link in below. It's a 15-minute online application. It takes about a week to get approved, and then you'll have your DIVVY platform available to you. So we just want to thank everyone. We want to thank Disability SA and Melanie for inviting us to share and educate and help advance your businesses. Again, if any of you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to set up that free consultation and get your free account, as well as just be an asset and a tool here in this community. We're offering free CPE credits for those who are accountants, and we have a webinar coming up that we've also included for you down below that you can get those credits. We know it's the end of the year. So any questions? We'll open it up to questions before we hop off.